Today we're gonna learn the preventing anxiety, fears, depression, and anger from coming back, and learn how to overcome fear throughout. Okay. We start preventing anxiety, fear, depression, and anger from coming back. Maintenance techniques are used to reduce the risk of losing them and to restrict them length if they return. Will examine steps you can take to prevent needless fear from returning or shortening their tenure if they do. Okay? Quick steps to restore balance. Anxiety and fear are important for survival, right? They may come back again. You can encounter paralytic anxieties at times, but likely less often than before taking action to combat them. And now, if they do recur, you have a lot of techniques to address these anxieties. Okay. Any habit of a parasite may crawl back, right? Such an event allows you to fine-tune your cognitive, emotional, and behavioral abilities. But there is no need to hesitate. To keep you in shape, you should practice these skills. It is similar to doing daily physical exercise to practice your cognitive, emotional tolerance, and behavior abilities. The more you practice, the more you are getting stronger. Okay? You will begin to brush aside obstacles like fear when you focus your attention on a meaningful task. However, good development, it is possible that parasitic fear can disappear completely. To rally yourself, there are quick 4 steps. Reviewing the key ideas, action plans, and exercise section. Okay? You may revisit this written record as a turn-up measure every month to recall what worked, what didn't work, and what fell in between. 2. Practice anxious about parasites can recede. But now you learn more about this for being found. Use your ABCDEs and challenge parasitic logic with the onset of parasitic anxiety. You will be better at using it as you practice the ABCDE system. You find less need to use it for that purpose as you become more professional in the process. 3. Build a basic ID. BASIC For diagnostic perspective and maintenance purpose, you can use this method. What is going on with each of the modalities? What can you do about it if there is a hot spot modality? As an early warning system on all the Rogers, the founder of a program, such as the monthly basic ID update. 4. You can use PURRS to tackle parasitic anxiety and fears. This strategy provides you with a constructive approach to organizing data about your concerns and setting up and implementing plan you can indulge and alter as necessary. You use your self-observing skills when you invoke PURRS. You position yourself to control the outcome. If you control the fear cycle by PURRS. Okay. Okay. You can be dealing with the myth of a perfect consistency. Its maintenance is very important. Okay. Maintenance is largely about coping with false expectations. When you expect to keep out of your life toxic anxieties and fears, you feel let down. Okay? We are all wrong. You are less likely to be disappointed if anxieties make a cameo appearance when you plan to feel discomfort and occasional pressure from anxiety. You use what you've learned or invented to address the expected, unexpected. So, when you consider the unpleasant situation, you might find the expression, "It is what it is." It's helpful. It's helpful. Second, do without the impossible dream of a blood-proof maintenance program where you will never have to combat another parasite. Don't expect any parasitic thinking that crosses your mind to be able to monitor and combat it. By holding parasitic thoughts back, you can have perfect continuity, but you can commit to making your life plans set growth and ongoing part. Okay? Accepting lapse. Parasitic Those will make a cameo appearance from time to time. The cameo look is not a mistake and is definitely not a relapse. A lapse is like a going back step. A relapse involves the same level of persistence, concerns, anxieties, and fear that disturbed you originally. Using techniques, you have already done that. You can reverse both relapse and relapses. Beef up your attack against double trouble. When your parasitic anxiety and fear return, there will also be double troubles. The secondary depression is blooming in variety of ways. Blaming yourself, backsliding, worrying about worrying, feeling anxious about feeling troubled and feeling depressed. By recognizing and dealing with double disorder effectively, you can do a lot to reduce additional distress and prevent this form of distress from returning. You have at least 4 ways of challenging double disorders. The level any instant of distress over a form of double trouble. But for yourself, with unconditional acceptance of yourself, use a non-judgmental perspective to protect yourself. Double disturbing views are actively challenged by incongruity questioning. Next, break a circular thinking pattern. The circular thinking of a parasite meaningful distress is a valuable preventive maintenance skill to learn to break the ring. Once break circular thinking, and the next time you are better prepared to recognize and dispense with it. When you say, I'm a weak person, incorporating the word because open a possibility to see if circularity is present when you add the word because. The statement may be conclude, I'm a weak person because I'm afraid. Now you have a proof then you are tumbling around in circle. I'm a weak because I'm afraid. I'm afraid because I'm afraid I'm soft. To show that such a concept of yourself completely reflects your heart, you have to demonstrate its validity in nearly everything you do. If you fail to prove the full application of this definition, consider dropping the definition, okay? Remember also that you have plausible alternative ways of seeing yourself. Pluralistic and ongoing life. What happens right at one time and another. Anxiety and anxiety do not make an event awesome, catastrophic, or uncontrollable. nonetheless, they can represent exactly what you think. I believe the presence of an author certainly assumed in the circular cycle can be eliminated. You might say, I am supposed to be a weak person. Such a shift in thinking could change your feeling. The existence of circular thinking allows you to take steps to prevent the creeping return to parasitic anxiety. Recognizing the circle is pausing to prevent it from widening and tightening. Next, sustain lifestyle change. Sustain lifestyle changes. You can see parasitic anxieties and fear as a healthy lifestyle change that has its challenges, like any other lifestyle change. Look at that. That will improve your lifestyle. What is a healthy lifestyle change? What is a healthy lifestyle change? A positive change in lifestyle means reducing unhealthy behaviors by developing and maintaining healthy new patterns of habit. You lose weight and hold it off. You are exercising and supporting the effort for preventing health benefits and save money. You stop the drinking and smoking. You are making such change in lifestyle to improve your long-term health chance. Next, can you make lifestyle changes to prevent the parasitic anxieties and fears from coming back? You gather information about parasitic fears as part of this. Initiate, educate your cause, and develop emotional resilience through cognitive and behavior treatment of your terror. You stick with this plan through your life, but there are several conditions which increase your risk of parasitic tensions. Excess consumption of alcohol, cigarette, ingestion of an excessive amount of caffeine, dull work, frequent heated interpersonal dispute, insufficient exercise, and poor diet in some examples. What barriers commonly stand in the way of a sustained and meaningful lifestyle change? A change in lifestyle typically involves long-term deprivations to achieve a long-term goal of improved health and greater happiness. Few enjoy deprivation. process of change involving denying yourself a certain relaxation or enjoyment, or also evoke a psychological reaction or resistance. You can enjoy a spacious sense of relief as you avoid the uncomfortable feeling, which in turn reward further avoidance and procrastination. When looking at trade-off, you are more to focus on the long-term benefits of extending your wealth to improve your self-efficiency while recognizing healthy interests. Last questions. What process can you reasonably anticipate? If you switch your lifestyle, you usually act to remove a pattern or behavior that is self-sabotaging. You stop smoking or drinking. When running, you change your sedentary custom, but gains in these areas are often difficult to sustain if you don't know how. You probably have a better chance than a weight loss exercise program to achieve an anti-anxiety lifestyle change. Next, we're gonna learn how to overcome fear throughout the self-management techniques. Trying to change it is one of the best ways to understanding a process. So, today we'll discuss a self-management plan for positive changes in 7 stages. The plan includes identifying the issue of fear, setting a task, setting a goal, preparing and organizing for action, implementing the plan, evaluating outcomes, and reviewing the plan. Analyze the problem. Your attempt to resolve them are likely to be hit or miss without considering your fears. Analyzing the fear or anxiety requires extracting the piece from the entire process, analyzing interrelationship, and resembling the cycle of a fear. To recognize your anxiety and fear, you can start by taking an anxiety inventory. So, 4 questions for analyzing your fears. What circumstance can cause anxiety or fear? What circumstance can cause anxiety or fear? Albert Ellis explains the circumstance we equate as activating adverse event with our anxieties and fears. It can be external or internal in some event. external activities that can cause fear could be the act of public speaking, seeing a pattern in a glass case, or being in closed space that you can momentarily escape. Internal events can include terrifying images, traumatic memories, hallucinations, and unpleasant feelings that you associate with fear. Second question, what are those circumstances that can elicit or exacerbate anxiety? Then you can ask yourself. Like Amazon River, there is no delay of a thought, so you are almost always going to think about something. Normally, most people don't control their thoughts, but this metacognitive capacity of you rise above the stream of thought when you think of your work from a higher point of view, understanding what you are looking for. You can identify fear thinking and associate conditions such as double trouble anxiety over the disaster prospect. You can teach yourself to think about understanding and debunking unnecessary fear. Next question. What are the coexisting circumstances that contribute to your distress vulnerability? Parasitic anxieties and fears typically occur regardless of other circumstances, such as frustration, perfectionism, anxiety, guilt, procrastination, impulsiveness, dependency, fear, inhibition. Knowing what coexisting states affected you and how they work alongside anxiety can give you an edge in your fight against needless fear. Last question. What physical forms do your fears and anxieties take? What physical forms do your fears and anxieties take? You may experience psychological symptoms that are related to where you are most physically vulnerable. If you feel bombarded by health concerns, worries about your future, and fear of feeling anxious. Symptoms of anxiety can be muscle pressure, chest pain, and gastrointestinal problem. Some of these physical factors that represented a medical problem. So if you have not done so, it would be prudent to have a medical checkup. Make sure that any recurring anxieties do not have prescription or a link to illness. Many drugs used for relaxation, such as diazepam, can produce the very symptoms of anxiety they are supposed to reduce. A hyperactivity thyroid condition can cause anxiety and thought. Parasitic anxiety and anxiety are psychological issues in most situations. If your physical symptoms are manifestations of a mental fear, it makes sense to use strategies to deal with the fear-related thinking and behavior to cope with the fear. A mission is a simple objective declaration. The prime mission of President Franklin D. Roosevelt in World War II was to conquer the Nazi force to maintain democracy. The purpose of activism could be devote resources to protect those who are unable to defend themselves. The aim is important. The starting a mission. There are a few sample self-development missions to overcome parasitic fears. Test new anti-tatives to find out what is working and what is not. Eliminate fear through difficult fear thinking. Remove the fear of spiders to safely walk along hiking trail. Stop helplessness by criticizing helplessness thinking. Build tension tolerance by accepting unpleasant feelings of fear. Okay? Counteract threatening thoughts by contrasting them with responses to relaxation. Reduce social anxiety through the creation of small-scale skills. Next, setting reasonable goals. That's a guideline. If your goal is important and compatible with the objective beneficial personal and social result, it's probably worth pushing to accomplish it. It is concrete goal to be able to speak in public that is relevant. If you want to stop being afraid to speak in groups, you benefit and others benefit from the wisdom you can impact. Focus on measurable goals. If your goal is measurable, you can track your progress. Identifying and improving anxiety thinking around public speaking is tangible aim. Select desirable and attainable goal. Learning that goal is attainable can be motivating. Developing effective public speaking skills is an unattainable goal. Creating objective. You can break down your goals into those of cognitive, emotional, and behavior tolerance. That there are list of goals explains to how to achieve the goal of public speaking practice. A mental target might be two questions and neutralize the double trouble fear of the feeling of fear. The objective of emotional tolerance may be to put yourself in a position when you are likely to experience public speaking, which is anxious, such as taking a public speaking course at high school or college. Joining Toastmasters International and practicing informal and informal public speaking could be a behavior objective. Action planning. We need a plan. We need plan to raise money for charity. A system compatible with your principles will likely to outline in your plan to boost charitable fund. A good self-development plan is a structure to guide your daily actions to achieve your goals. Your plan sets out the steps you are going to take and the order you are going to take. Action plans answer the question from where do you start? What do you go to get there? What you need to do? What parts of the road are blocked? What tours are available? Executing you executing your plan. The best way to get off the unnecessary fear is to engage with what you fear. So, I know it may seem difficult to overcome fear by engaging it. That point, getting rid of anxiety requires feeling discomfort or apprehensions is part of the solution. There might not be a better or easier way. Chances are that you will feel an uncomfortable arousal when you encounter a feared scenario. A critical part of a process of execution includes sticking with your feelings of fear until they vanish. So, building emotional tolerance. The 5-step metacognitive approach. Okay. Building emotional tolerance. How to re-examine how to build emotional tolerance for negative feelings, emotions, and frustrations. Small negative change in mood or sudden but subtle changes in physical sensations can catch your attention if you are prone to anxiety. It could attack your environment as you try to figure out why you feel the way you are doing. Maybe it's your ungrateful past. You may start to thinking of your past nasty thoughts. Sensitized to physical signs of anxiety, you may skip over visible cause, such as climbing the stairs or heartbeat. Your vulnerability to somatic changes increase your risk of a different anxiety type. Developing emotional tolerance for unpleasant sensations. An example of a triggering cognition could be, oh no, here anxiety comes again. Or, I'm going to have a heart attack. You can also have a following amplifying cognitions in attitude clamor. I'm not control. There is something wrong with my mind. The more you practice to diffuse this triggering, amplifying cognitions, the less often you will have to deal with these problems. If you have a sensitive to anxiety and want to stop overreacting, test the countermeasure approach to 3 steps anxiety sensitivity. This approach uses Oscar's razor principle, realistic rebelling, and challenging anxiety practice that triggers and amplifies cognitions. no nonsense plan to get told on a sensation sensitivity problem. If you respond to anxiety sensitivity, you can take the following 5 steps. 1. Remember to accept yourself unconditionally as a human with anxiety sensitivity sensors. 2. Take the position of no blame. The idea is to help you solve the problem and not find yourself to blame. 3. Research to uncouple the sensations, cognitions of fear. Could you find evidence catastrophe, for example? If so, how can you tone down the language of explanation to make it more realistic? 4. Through learning to embrace the stress you don't like, exercise emotional sensitivity. It ensures that you agree to live through the pressure. 5. Accept the truth. Even if you learn to uncouple anxiety sensitive thoughts from change in sensations, a reaction of anxiety sensitivity may recur under unusual stress. You will actually find it easier to sever the bond than the first time around by redoing activities that have performed before. Your emotion. Emotions are spontaneous feelings of a various shades like love, hate, fear, sadness, happiness, frustration, and jealousy. The meaning and origin of emotions have been contemplated by philosophers, poets, and psychologists over the age. The ancient Greek philosophy, Aristotle said that people think themselves to superiority, anger, and shame. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus added around 180 that it is not so much things that cause us to feel as we do, but what we do with them. Emotion is based on how a person measures the effect of case. According to Richard Rogers thought that is in circumstances where we take our well-being into account, feelings emerge from warm cognition. Okay, emotions and cognitions. Your emotions reflect what you think or perceive and are typically attached to event. You are angry that you can't find your key. You blame your mate for our emotional upheaval. Then you will find the keys in your car's ignition. Your feelings are changing. A co-worker bad-mouthes you, saying she's cheating. You discover that she is truthful to fault when you get to know the person. You learn at the same time that the same colleague tells others you are lying. When the information changes, your emotions may change. If your thinking influences perception and beliefs, and they can be distorted, can you ever trust your emotions? Your emotions include your natural anxieties and fears, and they are clear enough to prevent you from questioning them. You are saddened by a close friend's loss. You are angry at someone who is behaving clearly to hurt you. Such feelings do not need to be checked and studied closely. So how can you say valid one's parasitic anxiety? There are two basic ways doing this. Build parasitic thinking standards that help you distinguish parasitically anxiety from fact-based or logical thought. 2. Link pattern of parasite beliefs to their self-defeating outcomes and their psychological spin-off. Delaying cognitive fears. Uncoupling psychological parasitic values can result in less stress, and tolerating less needless stress is usually easier than tolerating more needless stress. The 5-step metacognitive approach. 5 metacognitive steps boost emotional tolerance for exaggerated fear. Fear activator. Fear activator. Outside your bedroom window, you hear bushing rustling. That's a fear activator. Next, cognitive triggers and amplifiers. You are curious if the bush were destroyed by a burglar. This probability increased certainly in a second. This over-focusing on a potential disaster feed on itself. Coping perspective. Apply the razor, what is probably the simplest reason to be correct? An intruder has been rustling the bushes. The bushes were rustling a breeze. What aspect of these thoughts are true from a metacognitive perspective? Who is being exaggerated? Fourth, copying actions. Copying actions. And last things, emotional tolerance tactics. Live with the feeling of stress while you work out the issue actively. Remember to stick to the problem by doing something pleasant for yourself after the mystery has been solved. Resistance and reluctance. Frustration tolerance training, raw frustration tolerance, and frustration disturbance. Building frustration tolerance. Mindful based cognitive therapy, MBCT, for easing tension. So next, we're gonna learn the building frustration tolerance and the mindfulness-based cognitive therapy for easing tension. We're gonna continue to them, okay? Thank you so much. Have a good day.